Dele Momodu Leadership Lecture happening right now at the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs, that's NIIA, in Kofo Abayomi, Victoria Island, Lagos. This is an event sponsored by Dele Momodu Foundation, and the topic is how to end hunger and poverty in Nigeria. The lecturer for the day is former President Olusegun Obasanjo, GCFR, and top dignitaries will be there as well, the likes of former President Goodluck Jonathan.
Ensure that there's no lack of education. Lack of education for a child gives that child every high probability of being abjectly poor and falling into hunger trap. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, let me conclude on my strong conviction and equally on strong warning. With integrity, discipline, good governance, elimination of corruption and waste, Nigeria can get rid of abject poverty and chronic hunger within a decade and a half. We have 24 million children that should be in school that are not in school. 24 million out of 244 in the world. We have 10% of the world children that should be in school that are not in school. If we are going to talk of eliminating hunger and abject poverty, we must get all those children into school. And as I said, I believe we do it well. In 15 years, we can get our population almost 100% educated in 15 years. But to do that, you need the right leadership. And if we have that, as I said, good governance, elimination of corruption and waste, Nigeria can get rid of abject poverty and chronic hunger within a decade and a half. If China can do it, China lifted 700 million people. I have been in China. I've been in their rural area where I live with the poor people who, in winter, for heating their rooms, is the cooking that they allow the smoke to go under their bed. That's how they heat their room. But within a space of 15 years, China lifted 700 million people out of poverty. So we can achieve that if all things are equal. And as I said, if China can do it, we can do it. We have human and non-human materials to banish poverty and hunger from Nigeria. But what applies to Nigeria applies to almost all other countries in Africa. Nigeria should have no business with poverty and abject poverty and hunger. God has not made that our Lord. Rather, it is the conscious and unconscious choice of Nigerian leaders. And this is no different from any other African country in similar situation. That situation must be changed. Now comes the strong warning. If we don't take up the responsibility to take care of educating the uneducated and integrating them into constructive, productive, and gainfully engage them within the society. The uneducated and the unemployed will take care of us all as unpleasantly as they can make it. We are all sitting on kegs of gunpowder. To be forewarned is to be forearmed. We should create no room for the poor and the hungry, because in desperation, their fury will be uncontrollable. The good news, though, is that God has endowed us with adequate resources in Nigeria to have no abject poor and chronic hungry among us. So are many other countries in Africa that are also richly endowed. Let me take one of the countries that is regarded as poor in Africa, DRC. Right now, I'm involved in the DRC. This is a country that has 9 countries as its neighbor that borders with him and is sea. So the largest in Africa. No other country in Africa is bordered by 9 countries. It's a country that has 2 time zones, the only country in Africa. The time in Kinshasa is 1 hour behind the time in Goma. It's a country that is 2.5 times the size of Nigeria. 2.5 times the size of Nigeria. It's a country that has about 1/3 the population of Nigeria. It's a country that has 60% of the cobalt. And for if we are talking of battery car and all that, you need cobalt. 60% of the cobalt deposit in the world is in DRC. There's a neighbor of DRC that has no cobalt and is exporter of cobalt. There's a country, neighbor of DRC, that didn't have gold. It has 8 gold refineries. And that country, DRC, is still regarded as one of the poorest countries in Africa. Now, how can that be? If all things are. I was first in DRC on the 1st of October 1960 as a young officer under the UN peacekeeping. In 2009, I was sent to DRC again by Ban Ki-moon, and I was going on. The problem of DRC in 1960 was still there in 2009, and the problem of DRC in 1960 and 2009 are even more there today. Now, I give that as a typical example. You can take any other country. They will be more or less in the same situation. It may be just a little bit different. So, what am I saying? What am I saying is simple. That leadership matters. And what applies to Nigeria applies to any other country. And I've given an example. Nigeria should have no business, as I've said, with the poverty. And this is no different from Malawi, make it Zambia, any other country. Now, so we are all endowed. What matters is what we make of the endowment. We have no reason to complain. And why we are complaining is because we are not doing enough for ourselves. Why are we poor? We are poor because unwittingly we have chosen to be poor. Let me give another example. Some time ago, when I was president, there was problem in Guinea-Bissau. And I was chair of AU. John Kufuor of Ghana was chair of ECOWAS. And then I said to him, let's go. And he said, where are we going? I said, we are going to Guinea-Bissau. Meet me at the airport. And he did. And what do we have? We met at the airport. He came into my plane. And as we were about to land, he looked, everything was green. Water, green. And he said to me, hey, my brother, this country should not be poor. I said, my brother, tell me which country should be poor in Africa. And that is true. Which country should be poor in Africa? When we got there, this is a country, if you plant any fruit, any tropical fruit, it will grow luxuriantly. We got to the hotel. We had imported grape. Not banana, not orange, not pineapple, not tangerine, imported grape. We had imported apple. So I told President John Kufuor, I say, I am protesting. He said, how are you protesting? I say, I'm protesting by not eating this fruit that they've put here. And that is the type of Africa that we give to ourselves. Now, I believe what God, we should pray God who has endowed us with all the resources, that He should also endow us with the provision of leadership for great leap forward for Nigeria and for global Africa. The leadership. Dele, thank you for successfully pulling a fast one on me. And if I know Ruben, as I said, maybe he has some hand in the conspiracy. But Dele, in all seriousness, on my own behalf, and on behalf of all of us here and all your friends who are not here, but who wish you well, and especially on behalf of Kabesi and your senior friend brother who has lost one day from the 3 days that he was senior to you, I congratulate you most heartily. And I hope that 5 years from now, when you will be celebrating your 70, you will invite me properly, and I will answer you adequately. And on that occasion, we will be able to examine what progress Africa has made in banishing hunger and poverty. Because until we are able to do that, we are not going to be recognized as right as we should be recognized by the international community. That I know, and I believe that you know. Africa has embarked on a journey of making Africa what God has created it to be, a land flowing with milk and honey. To achieve that, we need all hands on deck, and particularly the hands of our leaders, to make sure that we are able to turn God's resources to our benefit. Thank you.
All right, with that, we'll take a quick break and be back shortly.